And once again, welcome back to the channel. This is Thomas Goes Nostalgic. So you can see behind me I have some dioramas that I built, and when I do my action figure unboxings, I usually have the NECA street scene diorama that I use as kind of the backdrop, but I kind of want to just make something simple and something that was real easy to build, and really all you need is a knife. I use some extra tools, but that's just because I'm lazy. But just something I have for photography or for display reasons. There's really figures that I have that don't really would fit in the NECA street scene display or in any kind of like modern day building type. So I thought it'd be cool just to do a quick build. This will be a speed build, and then just go through the process and see what some figures look like on it. So let's check it out. First, if you can see this piece of foam, it has some markings on it, so it's pretty roughed up. So this is a great scrap piece to use as a base. I'm just going to flip it over and we're going to work on the other side. And then I have that back piece already cut, so I'm just going to go ahead and Dremel out the holes for the magnets and then get this magnetized. Next, I'm going to take a black Sharpie and I want to make sure that I cut all the edges off so it looks more natural, like jagged rock. So I'm going to do this to the base as well as the backdrop. And then you can use a knife. I'm going to use a hot wire tool, but it works either way no matter which tool you're using. And I just want to do the same thing to some of the surface area of the base. This way it gives me some uneven ground on the actual base platform so it doesn't look so uniform and flat. So this will just give it some texture at the bottom. Now I'll do the same thing to the backdrop. Just want to make sure I'm rounding out any of the edges and the corners. This way it gives it more of that natural look. So now what I'm doing, if you don't have a hot wire tool that you want to make some cracks or indentations into the ground, you can just use the tip of the hot glue gun without even using any hot glue. So just press that tip along wherever you want to make some random cracks or creases into the foam, and you can do that. So the base and the backdrop are done. I just want to add some depth to it and include some rocks or boulders. So I'm just going to take some extra scrap pieces of foam that I have and go ahead and start carving them with a knife. So these are all the pieces of foam I'm going to use for my boulders or rocks, and basically wherever there's an angle or a straight corner, I'm just slicing down that corner and just chipping away randomly. So I'll do this one on camera, and then I'll do all the rest off camera, just so you can see this one. So all of my rocks and my boulders, they're all complete. So I'm going to hot glue these to the base of the diorama and to the backdrop, and then I'm going to give it some texture. Now normally I would use a ball of aluminum foil, which you could still use here, but I have a heat gun that I haven't used too much, so I'm going to try that and see how that works. And this is my first time using the heat gun in this specific way. It's actually shrinking some of the boulders or rocks that I cut out, and it actually makes it look more natural and rounded. So pretty cool to use this tool for the first time like this, but it does give you that nice texture. But again, if you don't have a heat gun, you can just use a ball of aluminum foil. I primed everything with black acrylic paint and Mod Podge, so now I'm just going to lay down some more Mod Podge and lay down some of these smaller rocks that I have. I got a bag of this rock from the Dollar Tree, so wherever you see the Mod Podge being applied, I'm just going to sprinkle those rocks around the rock so it looks a little more natural. So now I'm going to do sort of a dry brush. I'm going to, where the paint is heavier on the paintbrush, I'm going to go around the rocks, but then I'm pretty much just going to use up what paint is on my brush. So I really want some of that black to come through wherever there's cracks or crevices on the diorama, whether it's the base or the backdrop. This way I won't have to go back later and add some black to it, but this will just give me that nice natural look with the black popping from behind. Now at this point I want to start layering my colors. So here I'm dry brushing the light gray. I dry brush on brown or tan, And now I'm going to start dry brushing some white, and this will make a lot of those corners on the rocks really stand out, really pop. So this is one of the really cool technique. I love doing this. It's probably one of my favorite parts about painting. It's the dry brushing, and then next we'll start doing some washes. So just a quick look with everything dry brushed. This is probably good the way it is. It's really whatever you want, but I want to add some extra layers to it. So I do like the dry brushing, but now we're going to bring it all together and add some washes. I'm going to use some brown wash. I'm going to use some black wash just by mixing those colored paints with some water and letting it drip and soak in a little bit. Now that all my washes have been dried, I want to add some color to this. So I want to add some greenery. I only have this powdered grass, so I'm going to use this. I'm going to kind of mix it in with some Mod Podge. So I'm making almost like a gooey type texture. And then I'm just going to paint it on all around the rocks. So after I'm done applying all of this moss, I'm just going to let it dry, and then I think it's ready to display. And here it is, folks, a quick and simple build if you just wanted to make a quick backdrop diorama for your action figures. It was really simple. You don't need the hot wire tools to do this. Even if you just have a knife, you can accomplish this look. It's natural settings, it's random, so I went into this with no plan and just kind of sat down at the workstation and just did whatever popped into my mind. And I think those builds are kind of the most fun because you're a little freer to do whatever you want. And I haven't made a natural setting like this before, but I'm kind of wish I'd started doing things like this because I feel like it gives you some of the basics. But dry brushing, black washes, and adding some greenery. This was a fun one. I've never carved rocks just out of spare pieces of foam with a knife, so that was actually really fun. I think I enjoy that more than carving brick lines. So if you're just looking for a quick and easy display to pop onto your shelf, this is it. Now my original intentions of this diorama were to be a platform where I can unbox figures, but it's a little small, so it's great for those close-ups, but the wide angle, I think I'd have to make one a little bigger, but just as a display piece, this is great. It really checks the box. So I have my Crash Bandicoot on there now, but at least this way I can get them on the shelf, get some action figures on there, and just have a nice little scenery for some of those figures that wouldn't look necessarily correct if I displayed them on like a building or something. And making a diorama like this is pretty versatile. You can really put whatever kind of characters you want on here. So right now I have one of my Action Force figures on here. Switch them up with some Marvel Legends, so I put my Beta Ray Bill there. I think he looks awesome, but honestly, you can put almost any figures here, and this could fit a lot of displays. So that's kind of what I want to start going more towards, is making these kind of generic displays so it fits with everything. And that does it for this one, folks. If you like this content, hit like, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you get notifications of when I post my next episode. Until then, we'll catch you next time.